Thank you for a nice introduction. Hello everyone, my name is Xiaokuan Zhang. I'm from George Mason University. Today I'm happy to share our work, POLICYCOMP, Counterpart Comparison of Privacy Policies uncovers overbroad personal data collection practices. This is a joint work with Shanghai Jiao University and Xidian University. So nowadays, more and more laws have been drafted aiming to provide legal frameworks on how to collect and use personal data. These laws require mobile apps to clearly disclose personal data collection practices, or PDCPs, and clear purposes for processing them in the privacy policy. However, as mentioned by prior talks, privacy policies have become substantially long and difficult to read. To access services, users usually inattentively click yes, without a complete understanding of the privacy policies. So here, does the PDCP description in apps privacy policies comply with the legal requirements? There are various tools being developed to help users better understand the PDCPs in the privacy policy or check the consistency, such as examining whether a privacy policy is logically sound by detecting contradictions within it, and verifying whether a privacy policy is consistent with the app's behaviors. However, no prior work answers whether the PDCPs collected in a privacy policy are necessary for the given purposes. In other words, whether they comply with the principle of data minimization. In industry for commercial purposes, some app developers, they may claim more PDCPs in the privacy policies than actually needed for the desired services. So we call this overbroad collection of PDCPs. For example, this is an example of a stock trading app. This app uses vague statements to describe the collection of sensitive personal data without stating the specific purposes. As a stock trading app, the necessity of such collected personal data may be questionable given the provided services. So in this paper, our goal is to identify those overbroad collections of PDCPs from the privacy policies. So to detect those overbroad collection of PDCPs, we face two challenges. The first challenge is the lack of detailed standards. Privacy is a context-dependent concept. In an app's privacy policy, the context means different kinds of services and the necessary personal data for these services. So this challenge hinders the lawmakers from defining a clear and widely applicable privacy boundary between the necessary and the unnecessary on a wide range of apps. The second challenge is the unclear purposes in the privacy policies. Since some privacy policies, they only specify the purposes at the app level or explain the purposes using very unclear languages. So it's difficult to determine the exact purposes for each PDCP they collected. Currently, it mainly relies on the legal experts to manually audit each PDCP and draw conclusions, which is not scalable for millions of apps. Therefore, an automated tool is needed to preliminarily screen out overbroad PDCPs for the legal experts to review. So to address this problem, our idea is to use the counterpart comparison to detect overbroad PDCPs in privacy policies. The basic intuition is that the apps having similar functionalities and purposes, they will share similar privacy contexts, which may lead to similar PDCPs they collected. Therefore, it's possible to leverage the PDCPs in counterpart apps privacy policies as the potential standards to judge whether those PDCPs are overbroad collections. So a PDCP in the target app's privacy policy is more likely to be necessary if it's also in Counterpart app's privacy policies. So given a target app, POLICYCOMP will first find the top K Counterpart apps for this target app, which could be used as standards to audit this app's policy. Then POLICYCOMP will extract and regularize PDCPs from the privacy policies of the target app and its counterpart apps, which is this step is designed to translate the complex privacy policies into PDCP matrix. In the last stage, for each PDCP of the target app, POLICYCOMP will calculate the overbroad likelihood and conduct further risk estimation and reasoning. So in stage 1, we first crawl the similar apps provided by Google Play and other alternative app recommendation websites for each target app. Then we use the semantic similarities between the descriptions of target app and the counterpart apps to rank those similar apps. And then in stage 2, we use NLP techniques to extract PDCPs from the privacy policies of the target app and the counterpart apps. Since the extracted PDCPs might be represented in different forms, so here we use the fuzzy match to map each potential PDCP to a manually defined personal data category. And in the third stage, we first calculate the overbroad likelihood for each PDCP, which is defined as the ratio of the counterpart apps that do not collect this PDCP. Then, based on the overbroad likelihood and the personal data type, we classify the PDCP into 3 risk levels: high, medium, and low. And more details of our system can be found in our paper. So for evaluation, we crawled the target apps and the similar apps from the Google Play. And we also crawled the 3 alternative app recommendation websites. After pre-processing, the final dataset contains 10,042 target apps, and there are 30,000 distinct counterpart apps. From this total 10,042 target apps, POLICYCOMP extracted and analyzed about 58,000 PDCPs. And we found that 48.29% of them have the risk of overbroad collection. So based on whether they are class 1 highly protected personal data, as expressed by the privacy protection law, they are then classified as high risk or medium risk. And then we select the top 2,000 apps with the highest overbroad likelihood and shared our findings with their developers. And we have received the responses from the developers of 52 apps, and 39 of them acknowledged our findings. By examining their privacy policies 1 month after sending the emails, we found that the privacy policies of 74 additional apps have been updated by removing the 180 overbroad PDCPs we identified without replying to us. And I'm going to present 2 case studies here. The first one is the privacy policy generators. So privacy policy generators are widely used by developers. However, the generators, they are limited by the manually designed templates, which are too coarse-grained and cannot generate a dedicated privacy policy to cover all requirements of an app. And in our case study, we found that six developers, they confirmed that the overbroad collections are caused by the misuse of privacy policy generators. And here are some examples of their responses. For example, one said that we actually do not collect these personal data, and this policy was generated by an online tool and had it by default. And the second case study is the one-to-many privacy policies. So many developers, they own multiple apps. So they will just use one single privacy policy for all their apps. And they describe the collected PDCPs for all the apps in this single privacy policy. And we're calling this type of privacy policy as one-to-many privacy policies. And A developers state that the overbroad PDCPs are caused by this one-to-many privacy policies. And one developer promised that they will revise the policy and update it accordingly. And we have other case studies in our paper, so please refer to our paper for details. So the limitation of POLICYCOMP. The current limitation is limited in handling the following three scenarios. The first one, if there are the same overbroad PDCPs shared by the target app and its counterparts, then the POLICYCOMP may not be able to catch it. And the second, if there is a lack of highly similar counter app apps for some target apps, then we may not be able to find enough standards. And the third limitation is the inaccurate PDCP extraction and regularization due to the limitations of the NLP tools we used. So in the future, we will construct more detailed standards and integrate the state-of-the-art tools to improve the performance of POLICYCOMP, such as the two tools presented before my talk. So in this paper, we present the POLICYCOMP. We use counterpart comparison of privacy policies to uncover the overbroad personal data collection practices. So I have listed the lead author's email here. Unfortunately, he cannot be here due to the visa issues. And so feel free to email him if you have any questions. And I'm also happy to take a couple questions here. Thank you.